Hey YouTube, this is Nia Tate. Welcome to my channel. I'm here to do the Belle Collective Season 7, Episode 11 review. So we are back like we never left. We back, but they were a couple of weeks ago. So if we recall, all the ladies had this, well, not all the ladies. The ladies had decided to meet to discuss the situation that was going on with Shantae because Shantae was accused of talking about Letitia, La- Latrice behind her back, and she's supposed to be her ace. So somebody said that she was saying bad things about her and her relationship, and so Latrice Letitia brought her there to, kind of, I guess, defend herself. And so Tamron and Shanice, well, it was really Shanice. Shanice is very, I don't know. She just, I don't know. I guess I kind of have to see it from her side. I mean, if you're being accused of something you really didn't do, then I guess you would maybe have an attitude too. But anyway, her and Tamron got into it because if we recall, Shanice had said that uh, Tamron's was having a relationship with this other man, and it wasn't really with the man that she was with. So it's a lot of he say, she say stuff. Now, while I don't think Shanice needs to be in the group's mix because she's not a part of the collective, I just don't feel like, I don't know if there's enough evidence on camera of her actually saying these things. Sometimes I feel like maybe Latrice be wanting to say that and blaming it on. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But Tamron was hot. Tamron was 45 hot, and she was like, she walks out, and then Carrie goes outside to try to convince her to come back in, and Tamron is like, I'm done, and I don't blame her. I would have went back in there anyway because for what? I mean, Shanice not even a part of the collective. What are we wasting time? What are we doing? And I think Latrice Latricia said, well, I just need I brought her around because I just need to feel like somebody is on my side, but she's not a part of the collective. And that's just I just feel like she shouldn't be in collective business if she's not a part of the collective. And so then Shanice said, I just feel like, she always gets the short end of the stick. I've been around while you guys have attacked her and for things that are not even her fault. And so the producers go back and they show like so many scenes where Shanice it was there. She just didn't say anything, on camera. So evidently they are really good friends. But I still think you need to just be a supportive friend outside of the collective because you causing disruptors. But Shantae said, well, I, I I don't understand why people are saying that I'm the one causing the confusion. You ladies don't need me to cause confusion. You do it on your own. Now that is true. However, two things could be true at one time. They do know how to cause confusion, but you stir in the pot too. I personally, Miss Shantae, go on back in the background. Just fade on into the background. Cause we really don't I hope we don't have no more he say she say from you. Okay. And the whole time she talking, Maria and Selena kind of just looking. They just observing. They ain't really saying nothing to Shantae, but I don't know if they was fully 100% buying it. But Letitia, of course, was sitting up there grinning like a Cheshire cat, like, yeah, like, yeah, that's my girl. She got my back. You know, I just feel like Letitia, girl, you sit there like you just 100% innocent now. You have done some things that they did need to get on you for. So, what do you want? You want a friend or you want a yes girl? You know, you want somebody that's going to tell you the real, when you right, you're right, and when you're wrong, or just somebody that's going to be a cheerleader? Because that seemed like what Shantae is. So next we see Glendale. Glendale takes himself down to the Loyola, the lawyer, because as we recall, um, Letitia had hit Letitia has hit him with the post post nut discussion on that last episode, and he was like, "Wait, what?" So he takes himself down to the attorney to find out his, what actually is a post nups, and you know why would somebody want one, and would it be in his favor to agree to one, which I think is smart, but we all know that he not for it because it's not his idea, and the fact that how dare she have her own idea, after all this time. And so the attorney did explain to him that, like if they do get a divorce, marital assets do have to be split. But she also said that, some people think that if she, if Lat- um, Letitia is going to if she thinks she gonna, like, start some accounts and start siphoning money out, and she said that would not work either, because you know the root of the money uh, always is always established, so he don't have to worry, about that. And he said, well, a lot of people, I'm glad you said it, because a lot of people seem to think that's how it goes. And she said, well, they aren't attorneys, so and he said, well, would you advise me to do a post nup? And she said, I do. She said, because it's protection just in case there's a divorce. She said, I do advise you to do one. I'm thinking, yeah, because you want to get paid to do it. But anyway, um, she said, but I just think you guys need to sit down and have a real discussion. Not come at it as a negative thing, but try to come at it, as a positive, discussing your relationship. And then y'all can, go from there. So he felt better talking to the attorney, because, his main concern is, I've been over here supporting her for 30 some years. And now all of a sudden she wanna act like I ain't do nothing, which the lady didn't really say that, but that's how he feel, because it seems like, Letitia she is starting to become, her own person. She's making her own money, and she's just growing in who she is. And he ain't cool with that. He want the old thing back. He don't want all this newfangled, girl, who you been talking to. Listen, I do what I want to do. I'm the breadwinner, and being the breadwinner gives me the right to do what I want to out in these streets. That's what it is. Excuse me. That's what it boils all down to, and that's why he's upset. So next we have Marie and Carrie and Tricia, Latricia. They all meet together for lunch. And what's going on? I like to Carrie hair, that little bob. That was real cute. That was a cute little bob on her. Because I like Carrie, but her hair some day, some sees that hair be like, she like to change it up, and sometimes it's like, I don't know. But that bob was cute, girl. Um, she Carrie's doing an event for create a collective event for Black Girl Vitamins, and so she invited the ladies to lunch to tell them about it. And what she told them was that um, she is collaborating with Latrice. What she say that for? Why she say that? Marie, now Letitia, she did kind of look at first when she said that, but Marie told Letitia, she said, don't say nothing. Let me say it, Marie. Well, why are you, Latricia, the one that brought you into the group? So why are you collaborating with Latrice? you know, uh, shouldn't you be doing it with Letitia? And so Carrie was like, well, I already collaborated with um, Latricia. We already did an event, and if we look back, they showed the footage of it where they did, and she said, you know, I Latrice and I had talked about a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, whatever, had talked about doing a event, and had talked about doing an event, and as creators, and this she said, I just think this would be a great opportunity. And so here go Marie. Well, but she's not a creator. She said, but she's a business owner, you know, and I don't understand what's the problem. Well, I just think that it's kind of I kind that it's a little shady that you're doing it like that. And so Marie's in her confessional, and she's like, saying that this is that Carrie has clearly picked a side. And I was like, okay, now this is, but they keep talking back and forth. Carrie is like, because Marie was on her, and Carrie was like, well, this is high school. Like, what are y'all saying? I can only work with y'all. I can't work with anybody else. But we not saying that. But the back and forth got to the gist of the conversation. Marie is still hot over the whole situation with Selena, uh, with the whole reveal of somebody saying that Selena's fiance Mike had a child out there, and Marie says that Carrie brought it to the group. Carrie said that Marie told her. So I don't know what's going on, but Marie is really hot about that because she feel like Carrie is like Carrie being messy, and that she, stirs a lot of mess, kind of like throw the rock and hide her hand. So that's why Marie had all that smoke from her, because to me, she came at that luncheon with a attitude, and all she was waiting for was something for Carrie to say something, and then she was gonna pounce on the situation. So, I mean, they got loud. It was really back and forth. And then Carrie gonna ask her, well, the question is, are y'all gonna be there? And Marie said, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna be there. So they kind of left it, alone. Um, and next we see Tamarin, Latrice, and Selena meet up for lunch. And Latrice was not at the event that I talked about at the beginning of the episode, where Shanice was there, because she said she wasn't going. She said she got up that morning and prayed over that she ain't want to go. And I don't blame her, because what are we doing? It's pretty much a waste of time. So they were filling her in on what happened. And so Tamron said, um, Selena was laughing because she was like, "Ooh, you missed this." Tamron was hot. I've never seen her that upset. She was. Selena said, "Girl, I was scared," and so they were kind of teasing her about it, because that's really not her nature to get so upset. But you know, she said that she just tired. Tamara said she just tired of the outside noise, and that's what Shantae is. And she said that she feel like Letitia is just used to chaos. She used to chaos in her marriage, in her life. She don't know who her real friends are, because she's so used to not being a good friend. I said, "Ooh, girl, you said a word." And so, of course, Latrice and Selena didn't agree. Selena ain't really say nothing, because Selena done learned this gonna come back on the reunion. But she just kind of sat there. So Tamara was saying that she really appreciated Latrice checking on her every day. When her dad, a couple of episodes ago, her dad had, I think he had a heart issue or something. He was in the hospital. He was real sick, and she said Latrice checked on her every day. And so Selena said, well, girl, I ain't check on you every day, but I did check on you. She said, yeah, 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 you too. So Taryn was like, I do appreciate Selena and Latrice, for being there for me. And Latrice was saying how good of a person that she's known Tamara for so many years, and that she's always has been always very loyal and supportive, and she's the type of friend that will pray with you, and be there for her. And so it was easy for her to, reciprocate that, in her time of need. And so, Latrice says that Tamara is the type of person that is a collective, that definitely deserves to be in a collective. And so Terrence said, "Yeah, we need to get back to that. We trying to go towards sisterhood. They steering us towards the hood. We want to go to sisterhood, not the hood." So next we see Carrie goes to visit Latrice, and she's at her hair store. Latrice is at the hair store, so she's telling her about her lunch with Marie and Latricia and how they cut up. And she was like, "Girl, I mentioned that I was gonna partner with you, and they were just so upset about it." And she said, Latricia didn't say much, but you could tell by the look on her face she wasn't happy about it. But Marie was really, vocal about it. And she said, "I just think it's just so high school." And so Latrice was the same way. Latrice said, "I don't understand. You know, we have too much other things going on. I'm trying to fight with the city over my restaurant, over my lounge. I got too much going on to be going back and forth with this." And so uh, they just, agreed to just, have the event. Now, Latrice said she was going to take care of the food and the drinks, and then Carrie was going to do everything else. So I'm like, I guess that's a partnership. I don't know. I mean, that's more of a sponsor. Is it me? It's more of a sponsor. Because even at the event, Latrice was like, "Well, I got the drinks and the food and everything. Now everything else is on Carrie." So is that a collaborative, or girl, were you just a sponsor? I don't know. I just feel like, to me, if you're collaborating on it, it's not just what you provide, the food or the drinks. I think, like, well, we'll get into it. Let's talk about it, because the next scene was actually the day of the event. They were actually at the event. So it was funny when they walked in. Uh, Carrie told Latrice, "Hey, Michelle Obama," and because the way her hair was, fixed. And then Latrice say, "Hey, Hillary," and she said, "What Hillary?" She said, "Hillary Bates." On the Fresh Prince. Because, like I told y'all, I like Carrie, but them hairstyles, Carrie had the flip up do like the 50s housewife. I said, "Oh no, girl, you should have kept the bob. Mm-mm, what we doing?" So Marie and Latrice walk in. Latricia, why I have trouble with her name, y'all. They walk in, and it's obvious they looking, especially Marie. Marie had the stank face on. She was looking around like, like, you know how it is. She was looking around like, "What is this?" Like, already not impressed. And one thing I do say about Marie though, Marie don't hide her feelings. She will tell you what she feel, straight up. That's one thing about her. She not gonna. I don't feel she's a phony person. Like I feel like Tricia will sometimes put on that front, and she really be not feeling you, but she don't. She'll put on I don't want to use the word fake, but she'll put on that front. And so that's the one thing I like about Marie. Marie don't like something, she gonna say it. So they go ahead. The food is brought out. The ladies are there, and then, girl, I don't know what's going on, because I ain't gonna lie. I'm kind of like Marie. Like, girl, what we doing? They start playing games for the creators. There's four young ladies, I think, a bunch of whatever many young ladies. They kind of introduce themselves and tell this, because what they're trying to do is be a creator for Black Girl Vitamins. And Carrie and Latrice are going to pick the ladies that will be one. So I don't know what this was supposed to be like after they introduced themselves. I don't know. Maybe they could have did like a like a little mini commercial or a little mini Instagram thing saying what they thought about the vitamin. No, they didn't do that, girl. They start playing games like we had a baby shower. So Carrie had him up there doing a Soul Train scramble board, like scrambling a bunch of letters together and say, okay, we need to know what this letter is. And I was like, Marie sitting there like, I'm so confused. What is this? Then the next thing she had them do was do like kind of like a little TikTok thing. Like they had to dance, and because she said, well, we want to see, how good you are on social media. That one I kind of get. Okay, I kind of get that one. Because you need to have a good, I would say, a good presence about yourself to be, a representative of the brand. See how you move, see how you speak, things like that. So they finally went around and they they selected the four. So at the end of the night, they go. Carrie and Latrice are like, oh, this event was a success. Of course, they're gonna say that, oh, this is a success. It was so good. I was Latrice is like, yeah, Carrie did some great games. I really appreciated it. I think it was just great. And I'm like, okay, girl. But baby, she went over there. Carrie went over there and was like, so what do y'all think of the event? And Marie, Marie's like, I just think it was a lot of fluff. Like I just didn't feel like it was focused on what it needed to be focused on. And it was just a lot of fluff. And Carrie was like, what do you mean a lot of fluff? And so um Latrice brings it up about, she said, yeah, I understand that y'all had an issue that Marie and Latricia, y'all had an issue with Carrie partnering with me. And I just don't, understand. And so here go Latricia. Well, what you mean? I didn't say anything. And Carrie said, well, it was mostly Marie, but Letitia said, you said you did say Marie, Latricia had a look on her face. And Latricia gonna say, what's a look? And production so shady. They showed her face when they were sitting at that table, and she did have a look. She did. And see what I'm talking about? See, Patricia, she liked to like front. Marie said it flat out. Well, yeah, because I just felt like Patricia brought her in a group, and I just felt that it should have been her instead of you, you know, um, that she partnered with. And she said, Carrie, I do have an issue with you because I feel like you flip flop. Like I feel like you say one thing and then you say something and then you do something else. And Carrie was like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. What you mean not flip flop? I don't know what you're talking about. So it's obvious that conversations have been had, and now they did show some things. Do I think Carrie is 100% innocent? No, I don't. Do I think that sometimes she do throw the rock and hide her hand? Yes. But she trying to get on the show. She trying to stay on the show. Okay, she trying to get in where she fit in. Okay, so, but I think that Carrie has a good way of balancing it out. I mean, you can't just not have no drama, And I think the things that she does throw the rock on are not that serious. I mean, I think they're blowing it way out of proportion, but it's obviously conversations have been had. Um, because even Selena was like, yeah, Carrie has done a lot of things that questionable. And I get why she said it because, Carrie was a part of the whole situation with Mike, when people were the whole bringing the table about Mike having a child. So I get that. That's why she said it. So it seems like the ladies are turning on Carrie. Well, not all of them, but Marie, Selena, Latricia, uh, yeah, they have picked a side. Marie said that Carrie had picked a side. No, y'all done picked a side. Y'all done decided that Carrie is a flip flopper and that she messy. And so Uh, I don't know how this gonna turn out, but by the end of the episode, they still were going, back and forth, and so it's obvious that Miss Carrie, you better stay over there with Latrice and Tamara because the other girls is not featuring you at all. So, that's it for the episode. Overall, I give this episode, I give it an A minus. I miss the show. I really do enjoy this reality show, and I'm glad that they are back for the rest of their season. Um, Thank you so much for listening to my review. Please like and subscribe. Please subscribe, please. And also, I think there's a certain thing as a hype. I don't know. I don't know if I'm eligible to be hyped up or not. But if you see the hype me little sign, hype me up, so I can get a little bit more exposure. I really enjoy doing these videos, and I'm, definitely going to be consistent. I'll be here every week with this show and other shows. Check out the rest of the other shows I reviewed. Hustle and Hustle in Houston Hustle, Real Housewives of Atlanta, um, Love and Marriage Huntsville. I've done The Shy, which I'm going to do sometime probably tonight. I'll put that one up. So go ahead and check out some of my other videos. Thank you all. And I appreciate you listening. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day.